God of War. Ragnarok is coming, and will tell the continuation of Kratos' adventure in Norse lands with his son Atreus. But do you know what led this general of the Spartan army, the mortal who assumed the throne of Ares the god of war, to arrive in the icy lands ruled by Odin? In this analysis, we will unravel some points of this fantastic journey of the Ghost of Sparta. God of War. The fall of Ares. Kratos is a general in the Spartan army, and his quest for power surpasses even his reason, not thinking about the consequences of what the future may hold for him. After all, his ego is bigger than that. After being disadvantaged, face to face with a barbarian who commands the enemy army, Kratos calls for the help of Ares, the god of war, and in exchange for winning victory, sells his soul. Ares then gives him a power never seen before, something that would make Kratos a war machine: the blades of chaos, swords engulfed in fire with chains attached to their arms that are capable of tearing apart any enemy that crosses their path. But upon receiving such power, an uncontrollable rage begins to grow within Kratos, and his thirst to conquer lands and be recognized as the greatest warrior in all of Greece drives him completely out of his mind, to the point of going to a local village and set fire to all the houses and inhabitants that reside there. However, what he did not know is that Ares, in order to make him a merciless warrior, puts his wife and daughter in this village. Kratos, blinded by hatred, kills them with the blades of chaos, and their deaths will bring drastic consequences in your life. As a way of remembering his sin, his family's ashes adhere to his body, giving him a pale skin appearance, and since then he has been recognized as the Ghost of Sparta. Having the full conviction that he was betrayed by Ares in a cowardly and sick act, Kratos vows to defeat the god of war once and for all, and for this, he will have the help of Athena and Zeus himself, who understand that Ares is out control and must be stopped, before chaos engulfs all of Greece. But a mere mortal has no power to defeat a god, even more so when that god is destruction itself. Kratos then goes in search of Pandora's box, which has stored the power capable of giving him the strength to defeat Ares. After a long journey through the seas, temples and deserts, Kratos arrives at the Temple of Pandora. Upon finding the box and opening it, Kratos is consumed by the power within it, giving him not only strength, but the height of a god and allowing him to kill Ares. What Kratos didn't know is that his thirst for revenge would not be able to bring him peace. The image of his family's death by his own hands still haunted him, and he decides to throw himself from the highest mountain in Greece to end his life, and perhaps end your torments. But the Olympian gods had other plans for him. After defeating Ares, they needed a new god to take over his throne. Then the mere mortal, the Ghost of Sparta, takes the place of that god of war again. God of War 2: The Fall of the New God of War. Kratos is now a god. He has assumed all the strength and immortality of Ares, the former god of war. But all the fury he acquired before defeating Ares still resides within him, not to mention the torment of his family's death. One day, while he is on his throne, a warrior calls out to him, crying out for help, something very similar to what he himself did years before when he was about to be defeated. Kratos then descends to earth, and begins to destroy all enemies that have a certain advantage over the army that asked him for help. But Zeus had other plans for him. Taken by the evil power to open the box of Pandora, the king of the gods of Olympus takes the divinity of Kratos and kills him, sending his soul to the underworld, in the depths of Hades. With the help of the titan Gaia, he is instructed to find the Sisters of Fate, who possess the power to go back in time to the exact moment where Zeus is about to kill him and prevent this from happening. After an arduous battle and Zeus already weakened, in the heat of the moment Kratos strikes Athena, the goddess of wisdom, with the blade of Olympus, something he never considered doing, even though he hated the gods with all his soul. Zeus takes advantage of the misfortune to return to Mount Olympus, with Kratos swearing revenge and not only ending with Zeus, but all the gods that oppose in his way. For this, he will have the help of the Titans that in the past were defeated by the Lord of Olympus and, like Kratos, swear revenge. God of War 3: The Fall of Olympus. This last game of the original trilogy in the saga of Greek mythology is a direct sequel to God of War 2, in which we continue climbing Olympus with the help of Gaia, the Titan. Kratos finally manages to get very close to Zeus, until he discovers that he was just a pawn in the hands of the Titans so that they could reach Zeus and defeat him. But the Ghost of Sparta does not accept such betrayal and seeks at any cost his revenge on all that Zeus had done to him. Now, Kratos fights not only all the Olympian gods who try to stop him from reaching Zeus, but also the Titans who seek their own ways to get revenge. Kratos, although he lost his divinity to Zeus, he is still a demigod. After all, he is the son of Zeus, and much of his power still resides within him. The first god to fall is Poseidon, the lord of the seas and brother of Zeus. After a breathtaking fight, Kratos defeats him while on solid ground. But every action generates a reaction, a consequence, and in the Greek world this is no different. After the fall of Poseidon, an imbalance in the atmosphere occurs, making the seas furious and generating monstrous storms. In the course of his search for Zeus, Kratos defeats several other gods and demigods, among them Hades, Helios, Hermes, Hercules, Hephaestus and Hera. Coincidentally, all names starting with the letter H. After a long and tireless journey, Kratos meets Pandora, the daughter of Hephaestus, and who is the key to open the box over which the flame of Olympus protected, the same box that years before he had opened to defeat Ares, but when opening the box, finds it supposedly empty. After going back and forth between temples and portals, Kratos finally reaches Zeus, allowing us to witness an epic fight between the two, in which we don't really know who will be defeated. Zeus resorts to the illusions of the mind, and makes Kratos plunge once and for all in his past, making him brood over all the sins he had committed, mainly taking the life of his family. But it is in this moment of pain that he ends up receiving the forgiveness of their souls, giving them hope again. Kratos then breaks out of this prison, and takes Zeus once and for all into his own hands. Athena's spirit then appears, and demands Kratos to give her the power he took from Pandora's box. Reluctantly, he replies that the box was empty, which Athena doesn't believe. But then she explains that when Zeus trapped all the evils of the world inside Pandora's box, she feared what would happen if it were to be opened, and put the greatest power in the universe inside the box, hope. She then realizes that when Kratos opened the box by defeating Ares, evil escaped and contaminated the gods, while Kratos was left with hope, the power that Athena had placed inside the box. Athena asked Kratos for the power again, saying that she would know how best to use it to rebuild the world. But Kratos doubts that this supposed message that Athena would give the world would solve anything. At that time the world was totally immersed in chaos, like an eternal eclipse that made the world in complete darkness, the raging seas covering everything, dead crops and all humans infected by pests. So, instead of returning hope to Athena, Kratos decided to take his own life with the blade of Olympus, releasing the energy contained in his body for all humanity to use. Enraged, Athena says that the world won't know what to do with hope, and leaves the place slowly fading away. On the ground, Kratos collapsed in a pool of his own blood, accompanied by a slow breath. With the camera slowly moving away, the question remains, would this be the end of the Ghost of Sparta? After playing the end credits, the image returns to the place where Kratos supposedly falls dead, but his body is no longer there, being able to see just a few blood steps to the edge of the abyss and the image of a phoenix carved into the ground. There is no escaping the past. After the events in the Greek world, Kratos roams the land and all the while, tries to get rid of the blades of chaos, the weapons that brought him his rise, but also his downfall. The fact is that every time he tries to get rid of them, they come back, not allowing him to leave them in the past, as a way of telling him that this is his destiny and whatever happens, he will have to accept it. In the Fallen God comics, it is not mentioned how he arrives in the Norse lands or how he meets Faye, his future wife and mother of Atreus, but it briefly summarizes that although he had sacrificed himself on Olympus, he still did not. It was the end. Thank you to everyone who followed this special article about God of War. Enjoy and tell us in the comments what your expectations are for God of War, Ragnarok. Article written by Rafa Castillo and published on the Revolution Arena website.